Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. I am your humble host, Mr. David Null, also known as Hawkeye Two Feathers. And as always, I wish to greet you with the love and the honor of the infinite creator and of all the building of the universe. I hope it comes your way. Um, I haven't done an update in a little while. Haven't been quite as YouTube busy as I had been in the past. And it was time for a quiet time. Seems that there were, a lot of folks going through the holidays and things, and also on my part, seemed to be a lot of time that was needed to be spent in the dream world, if you will, walking in the dream world, and some very interesting things. And it's taken me several days for this download to kind of come into existence. Pamela, hello, 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 and Melanie, blessings to both of you. Surprise, surprise! I just decided to do a little update here, and trying to keep up to date with folks and how people are doing and so forth. And I visited with a friend of mine the other day. First time I'd been out on the house on my own to go visit somebody, and I don't know, shit, a year probably, which is kind of strange in itself. But not that I'm trying to be antisocial. I just haven't been able to drive and go visit. Anyway, but to that point though, there are changes about, and it feels like, oh my God, the speed bumps that we've had to go through here recently. And I can only relate with the story with myself, not that I'm trying to be narcissistic, you understand, but I'm just going to I use myself as the crazy person in the room. And, you've seen me report on some of the UFO things. Well, I can only say that there's something really weird going on along the Georgia-Florida border. And now it's been cloudy for the last 3 days, supposed to be, well, actually 4 now. And looks like we're going to wait 3 days cloudy, and looks like it's going to be cloudy for another week, well into next Friday. And it's like, holy crap! So there goes any kind of stellar observations or whatever. But anyway, in looking at the cosmos and looking at everything, I know myself, it's just like, wow. One minute I'll be like walking across the yard, and the next minute I'll be like, oh my God, I have to turn around and come back to the house. All the energy has just been drained out right out of me. Where I mean, literally 30 seconds earlier, I felt fine. Like dum dum dum. Let's go walk around the yard and let's go check out plants. Boom, and and literally almost not necessarily collapse, but go from a very high energy to zero energy almost instantly. It's just been really strange. Now, with that said, I've noticed that a lot of other people, and I have had some personal conversations with folks, that they've been having energy issues as well. Now, I know my situation is different with all my head injuries and so forth. So it's like I know that how these different energies affect me may not affect the rest of the population that way. In fact, I kind of take that for granted. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, but wait a minute now. But then I noticed that, well, the people in Florida and people in other parts of Georgia and people in Alabama, and different folks are having these reactions and are having these changes in their life. And I hadn't known about certain things, and I'm not going to go into it, but just some family, relatives, and so forth are like, well, wait a minute, they're getting a divorce and they're moving, and this is going, and there's a lot of transitional things going on with people, not just spiritually, but in this 3D reality. And it seems like a lot of people, and I don't know, maybe the holidays kind of brought it out or whatever, but um, that there's a lot of settling going on in this 3D reality. It's like different people haven't, look, I just can't be around you any longer, or I can't stand you, or whatever the deal is, and it maybe didn't just happen overnight, but they realized it overnight. It was like all of a sudden they just like, I've had enough. The straw that broke the camel's back. I've had enough, and that's it. They can't go any further. So that's been very interesting. But at the same time, I think, one could relate it to the entire world as being fed up. In other words, like the yellow vest in Paris, for example, and that it's picking up around the world, in different places, different, things. And, I check international news too, because it's just not what's going on in America. We really have to pay attention to what's going on, on the planet. And no, I don't read Chinese, but I can watch the videos and I can use a translator and I can understand that there are changes happening everywhere, just not here. Now, just before before the Christmas holiday, the big sell off in the market and so forth. And then after the holidays, well, there was a buyback and so forth like that. Now, if you don't believe that they're not manipulating the markets, oh, please, pay attention. Now, I'm only I say this in the respect that I watch economic markets. I'm not an economist by any stretch, but I know what the dickens is going on with trade offs, buy offs, this, that, and the other thing. I listen to Greg Hunt, uh, Hunt, anyway, Mr. Greg, and many other people. Um, I'm drawing a blank right now, so forgive me. I'm trying to think of the gentleman up in New York City, the little, I love him. I could see his face, but I can't think of his name. So anyway, but to the point though, that these things are going on, and the big boys are manipulating the market. There is buy offs and trades and this, that, and the other thing. Now, if we listen to the underground news, it seems that there are people, I'll just say the Trump folk, that they're trying to retake control and get rid of the Fed in such that it becomes, a governmental agency, not a private organization, as many of us already understand. So they're manipulating the market. Now, there's a lot of rhetoric going on right now, and this is one of the bumpy, humpy things that's going on. We have to watch what's going on economically as well as spiritually. Hey, Quartz, how are you? Blessings to you as well. Yeah, with the fed up part, yes, absolutely. 39 states bank ATMs are closed or unavailable. Yeah, and we were warned that right after Christmas they were going to do this thing because they needed 2 weeks apparently, 3 or 4 days. Wait, 3, 6, 9, no, 10 days. They needed 10 days, and they needed a 10-day period of when they could do the reset. It would take about 3 days to close everything, about 3 days to reset everything, and then about 3 days to get everything back up and running again. And so roughly, if everything went perfectly smooth, you may see something in 7 to 8 days. But the underground folks are saying that it's going to take at least 10 days for the reset. Thus, everybody's been saying, get provisions for 2 weeks, and this has been going on, for quite a while. Excuse me, a little bit of soda coming up here. But so with that said, though, the energy information I seem to be getting is that we need to really keep an eye out, not be scared and not panic, because that's going to create more confusion. But, it seems like there are things in the works right now that this is actually happening. Not quite everything shut down, but that things are closed and kind of being reconfigured. And, okay, ATMs down, different other things down. One of the big mobile phones was down a couple of days ago. I think AT&T had a had an outage. They're trying to do the reset isn't just the reset of the economy. It's the reset of stuff. So it's just been interesting. Now, most folks have been tied up with, the holidays and so forth. And it's just like, things had to just kind of play out. And they're still sort of in that area where things need to be played out. We don't really see the results, but those of us who have been watching, for a while, we can see movement in places. Like, isn't that strange? Certain people not showing up and just different things going on. Now, can I really point to anything and go, ooh, it's happening? No, not really. But there are a lot of underground thingies that are moving around, and the spidey senses are tingling, if you will. And so can't put a can't put my finger on any one particular item, but let's just bring this into, like, for example, the big blue beam thing over New York the other night. What was that? Oh, it's a transformer. I've seen a transformer blow up. It doesn't create a blue sky like that. I'm sorry, I've seen transformers do their thing, but it doesn't do what it did over New York. Now, am I trying to suggest that it's a UFO? But the people in New York are. So it's like, I don't know. I've been watching on my own UFO out the window down here. And to give you a little bit of update, since my last video on that, for example, this thing got really close. And I've got a telescope and things set up over here. You can see my my tripods in the window. There's my windows right there, pointing out to the south. I don't usually do a video in the daytime, but anyway, been sincerely trying to clean up my house. I can't somebody moves into my house and messes it up when I'm asleep. I swear to goodness. But anyway, but before it got cloudy the other day, I guess it's been 2 or 3 nights ago now. And let's see, New Year's Eve, I guess it was Christmas night, come to think of it. And this thing got so bright. I was like, oh my God. And I'm watching it and I can literally see it through the trees of my neighbors over there. And I'm watching it, and I can't really get a good beat on it with my binoculars or anything. And I'm obviously my camera, I'm deficient in that area. But I coming around and I watch and the UFO thingy, it's so bright. I mean, it's like 3 or 4 different stars. There's nothing in the sky that's as bright as this thing. And it comes into view and there's a cut in the trees over there. So I watch this thing literally for an hour go across the clearing and then into the trees. And then it just disappears. And I mean, really bright. And I almost got in the truck to go chase it. And I realized that how fast it was moving, which is unnatural from my observational point of view, where it is and how high up it is, and etc. And, I did a video the other night where I chased the damn thing into Florida. I was 5 miles south of the Florida border, when I decided to stop and turn around and come home. But with that information, I've been mulling that over and checking out my maps and so forth. That thing is a lot higher than I thought. It's not very low. But the fact that I could zoom in, or focus with my binoculars and get all the stars in view. So I've got all the background stars in a very clear field of vision. And then when I try to zoom in and look at the object, I have to adjust my focus so that I bring it in. So the object I'm viewing is much closer than any of the stars out there or any of the planets. So it's not in the same scope of depth, if you will. So when I found that information out, and then I started to do a little bit of triangulation, I brought into my Physics 101 class and some of my art class as far as being able to pick a vanishing point and, where if I had a line here and a line here, where do they intersect and how high up off the ground would this thing be? It's way up there. That's my conclusion. It's not nearly as close to the ground as I thought, and it's a lot further south. So I've been in touch with some people in Florida, and I've been saying to them, of course, it's cloudy there as well, but that any night that I see it, I'm going to get online and give them a call and say, okay, I see this, and it's over towards this way. So it would be on my left, but you're looking north, so you would see this from the south looking north. It would be on your right-hand side, meaning from the east to west. Now, this craft, whatever it is always moving from east to west. So it's almost like it's on patrol. It shows up about the same time of night. Now, I was at my friend's house the other night, and it was cloudy, but she sits way up on a hill, and I can see a lot of the horizon from where her house sits. And I saw an object that was low to the sky and in the place that it should have been. Not a star, not a helicopter, none of that kind of stuff. And as I observed it in a 10-minute period, it moved about that far in the sky. Now, anything that is man-made would be moving faster than that far in the sky. Now, it was a lot further away and it was overcast some and some clouds. So it was a bad observation. But the point for me was that it started in the same location. So later on in the evening, I walked outside. That same object was now moved over here. All right. So it had moved this far in an hour and a half's time. So there's something going on, but it's a lot higher in the sky than I'm realizing in order for me to see it from my location. So anybody in Florida wants to pay attention to this thing. It might very well be over. If you look at a map of Florida, it would be like over Ocala or Gainesville kind of thing, and traveling east to west. Maybe it's a little further north, but I don't know. But so far, the triangulations and so forth I've been doing, looking at Google Earth, and I've got maps of all kinds of areas around here, so I know my way around this section of the woods, if you will. And something is definitely going on. But in my observations, I'm realizing this thing is a lot higher in the sky. It's not some low kind of thing flying over the swamp. I don't know what it is. It's not a satellite. No satellites move that slow or are in that location. And the other thing is that I have noticed this thing moving north and south. It gets dim and then it gets brighter. It gets dim, same location, it gets dim and then it gets brighter. And so, but anyway, so anybody over Florida, check these things out. Now, ET said a long time ago that they were going to start, that there were going to be objects in the sky that were going to look like variable stars twinkling. And these things it's absolutely gorgeous to look at through a pair of binoculars. I mean, the colors and the thing, it's beautiful. And there are a lot of other variable stars in the universe that I've looked at with my telescope and binoculars, and nothing resembles what I'm watching. So anyway, with this hump, there's a lot of talk about UFOs and so forth. And, I've been quite straightforward with my discussions on this matter. And, my beliefs, they're there. Now, I don't know who they are. I don't know what the message is. I know the messages I've been getting, and that everything seems to be on the cool side. In other words, it's all about the transition. So I'm watching these things. Other people are watching these things. The blue lights over New York, for whatever reasons, people are discussing UFOs. They're discussing the fact that, is this the fake alien takeover? Now, here's the thing. I believe that, now this is my personal opinion, and my beliefs are that years ago when von Braun made that statement in the 70s about the fake UFO invasion, things have changed. I mean, starting about 2013, and we've all known this, after the 2012 debacle thing, there have been timeline shifts. There's the Mandela effect. There are all kinds of different things that have gone on in our universe and our 3D reality. I mean, the other day, it was late yesterday afternoon, and I was thinking about doing a video, and the Earth things just seem to be phasing in and out. And I mean, I've been open about my drug abuse and all my years of using mushrooms and so forth. I haven't had any kind of psychedelics or anything like that in years. And I know that old folks are going to, well, most of them are dead now, but the idea was that because I'm an old hippie, I'm having, a flashback. No, this isn't a flashback. I mean, I've had little tiny flashbacks over the years, and I go, ooh, that was an LSD flashback. This is not anywhere near that. I mean, I look out the window and I see it's focused past the window, and I see where my truck is, and then there's like this fuzziness, and then I can clearly see up on the hill, and it's like it's not my vision because I can see from here to the window. And I can see from here to the truck out the window through the thing there, right there. But there's like this thing. And early this morning, couldn't sleep, and I'm kind of restless. My back was hurting from all the work I did the other day. And I was just kind of chilling, watching a movie, just chilling. And something kept going by my window out here on the, forgive my mess, but this is when I'm saying I'm looking out my window out to the south, this is where my telescope is, and that's the window, and way out in the distance between the trees is that spot. So when I'm looking out the windows, it goes all the way up upstairs. So you got a strange view of my house. Yes, I need to clean it. Yes, and I've been working on it. But outside chores have been kind of pressing here for me on a few things here lately, like cutting firewood in between rainstorms. But anyway, so when I'm looking out the window, it just seems like there's a phase differential. I don't know how to explain that, but it's like parts of my reality are out of focus. I don't get it. I mean, I'm still trying to like, well, that was weird. And my nearest neighbor is 2 football fields up the hill from me. I don't have anyone that lives like anybody to walk by my house is just like, especially at night. And for me to see them when there's no light outside. I mean, there's just been some strange incidents. Well, for those of you who've been on my channel for a little while, you've seen the video or at least heard me talk about, we've seen orbs go by on the screen here at my place. So there's a lot of high energy around here for whatever reason. And I feel like I've just ran a mile at the moment. I'm out of breath and I'm like, for what? But it seemed important to do a little bit of update. Now, the humps in the road are like last night, I don't know, it was like 4 or 5 in the morning. And I was sitting here and I was almost tempted to call and wake a friend of mine up going, are you feeling antsy right now? I mean, because I was just like sitting here going, blah, 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 blah. Then I looked on the Schumann res and it was spiking off the charts for about 2 or 3 hours there. Right now, it's relatively calm, at least it was. And so I know I'm an old hippie freaky dude, but some of these things are just like way out of normal. I mean, even for me being creepy and weird and stuff happening, it's like this stuff is it's just too weird to be able to tangibly hang on to, if you know what I mean. So other people are having similar issues, and I don't want to say it's that. I think that people who have a lot going on in their lives are less likely to notice these subjective changes. And for those of us who are like, retired or whatever we are, have more time on our hands, if you will, it's that we notice these things easier. Now, in a regular, normal person's life, it might be, their idea of how the phase change thingy, something out of focus or whatever, they might just go, oh, well, that was something, or I was distracted, and they put it off to something else. But when shit walks by your window in the middle of the night, 4 in the morning, and it's like, what? And, I can see the outline of whatever it is, which is odd because it's dark outside. So how can I see the outline of something? Anyway, it was not malevolent. Didn't seem like it was there to hurt me in any way, but it damn sure walked by the house, and a couple of times. And I've got a small window down there by the door, and it was like something kept going by there. And I was like, wait a minute now, there's nothing there. I had the, porch light on, which is a very dim little light. But for down here in the swamp, it's a lot of light. It'll light up the area, and I could see, several feet out in the yard. But anyway, because it's so dark. So just that's an abnormality. The transition basics. I was asked to do this today because, I've done several videos on different subjects in the transition. And I've been watching people during the holidays, and people get a little weird, people who don't have their relatives around or their children are away from home for the first Christmas or whatever. And there's a lot of blues inside this supposedly happy traditional holiday, which is strange in itself that people would get so nostalgic that it put them in a depression. But I've been there, I've done that, have moved on. However, there were certain periods during this month where I was just knocked out for several days and simply just not aware of my reality. Get up, go to the bathroom, get something to drink, smoke a cigarette, check something online, get whacked out for 4 or 5 more hours. Very, very, very strange. And to the point where I was almost like, you know, do I need to go back to the doctor? Is there something weird going on? And then the angels told me, nah, remember, Dave, you were telling folks, you know, that the highs and lows of the waves, we would just need to hang on to our inner tubes and hang on, that these energies and these transitions, we're going to treat everyone differently. So the last several days, it's been like things have been not so bad. I actually got in my truck and went and sat and visited and played cards with my friends for several hours, which I haven't done in over a year. So there are changes that I feel that are way past what my normal parameters have been. And I've noticed other people doing the same thing. I think that's thumbs up, is what I'm saying. So where things have been kind of, I don't want to use, I hate to use the word depressed, suppressed, maybe. Things, you know, like the energies have been held down, not depressed, but suppressed, you know. And now all of a sudden, it's like everybody's taking a big, deep breath. Also, to go back to the humpity bump with the yellow vest and everything, we've all had enough of this crap of other people's stuff. And this great awakening is not just spiritually, but it's all of the above. And the holidays kind of took some people's vision away and sidetracked folks. And that's great. That's good. We all need to get sidetracked from, you know, this crazy reality and so forth. But now that Christmas is over and New Year's, well, it's just like 2 or 3 days away, depending on where you live in the world. And Happy New Year, everybody. This is going to be some strange stuff going on here. Should be good, though. All of the energies coming in don't really seem negative. All the energies coming in right now seem to be, hang on, you know, it's cold, baby, it's cold outside. I mean, it snowed in New Mexico, and it was freaky because it was like 50 degrees out and snow on the ground. You know, that the weather forecast folks are going nuts over that. And that's kind of true, you know, some strange things going on. You know, that a week ago when that volcano went off in Indonesia, the baby Krakatoa, um, a third of the island is missing. You know, there was another earthquake up in uh, um, 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 North Carolina yesterday, as a matter of fact, a 2.3 around Silva, North Carolina. It's on the western side up in the mountains up in there. But so, you know, there are earthquakes going on. Another one went on in Tennessee again, you know, just yesterday. So it's like, these energies are transferring around the earth. So just be aware of that, not to be scared. Another hump in the road, if you will. Some more weird waves and things going on. Some more humps in the road. Spiritually wise, though, and I can't answer this for myself, other than in like really weird esoteric type of terms. Something has changed for the better for me. The energies are different. My eyes are more clearer. I mean, I wear glasses for reading it up close, but even with that, it's like I'm actually I can almost read some of the script, you know, that y'all are typing over there, which is hard for me to do. So, and I'm not using my glasses, and I'm not even squinting. So it's like there are literally physical things that are seem to be better. My arthritis is still good. Now I did a lot of heavy lifting and some work outside the other night, and I'm like, ouch. I mean, I moved a bunch of brick and some block. I dug some trenches for the water that is happening now, and did some things. And I overreached myself that put me out. You know, you know, it was great doing the work, but man, you know, I'm so out of shape. Yeah, and I'm not complaining. It's just like, damn it, man. You know, I enjoyed what I was doing. Um, but how are you doing? How are people doing with this transition? In other words, are you feeling any different physically? Are you feeling any different mentally? Or is there any clarity in there? What about some of these humpity bumps? Have you been having energy, fluctuations within yourself, or are you wide awake 1 minute? And, I've noticed that several people, and it seems to be between 2 and 4 in the morning, that there's like a lot of activity at least in the Eastern time zone around the 3, 4 o'clock in the morning kind of thing. And I've had that for quite a while now. And it's like, okay, 4 in the morning. Now I used to work second and third shift. So 4 o'clock in the morning is like really nothing to me, except in that in this evolution of my changing, it's like it's daylight outside and I'm awake. What? Sometimes that's, people laugh and go, well, you were up all night. Shouldn't you sleep all day? Well, maybe not. In this transition, I can feel differences within my spirit. The spirit walking isn't quite so creepy. And that's hard for me to explain. Maybe I'm getting used to the spirit walk or the dream walk or however you want to, the astral projection that's not astral projection, but it's out there on that astral plane. And when talking with a friend of mine the other day, it was like, you know what? I've had similar dreams of that too. And of like being in a spaceship, but having never seen any type of science fiction movie to describe the things that we see or have seen or dreamt of, having been in the cockpit of something, and go, what? And I say this with all due respect, and that there are many of you who have talked to me about this and that you've had similar dreams. Some other folks that I have, done uh, hangout calls with, and chatted with, we've had similar types of experiences related similarly in time to certain days where it was like, you mean you experienced that day? Yes. Well, me too. Well, what about the time of day? Well, it didn't really matter, but it happened that day. Let's focus on let's go first with the day, and then we'll work backwards in the time, the minute, the situation, or whatever it was. But anyway, too many coincidences on too many different areas with too many of you folks along with me. So, we're going through this together. So how is this treating you? You know, is now that Christmas holidays are over, now I'm going to put my glasses on here in a minute because I really do want your reaction to this. Now, the transition with this learning about ethics, for example, I've noticed that during Christmas holidays, there were some people who was like, it was all about me. This is what I want for Christmas, not what can I do for you for Christmas, or can I just offer you a prayer for Christmas? Can I offer you, my brothers and sisters, peace on earth, peace be unto you? And there have been some surprises, I might add, with folks who started speaking about this when it isn't normally their normal kind of conversation. They're like, peace be to you, or peace be unto you. Let's peace upon the earth. And it's like, well, I know it's Christmas and, peace on earth, goodwill to man, blah, blah, blah. Okay, you got that. But to the point, though, peace has started to become part more of it's the linguistics is out there more with people discussing it in their Facebook pages, in just conversation. The word peace has showed up. And I've started this a couple of weeks ago. Not that I'm, all that, but it was like, of all the things I want for Christmas, I want peace on earth. I want to bring peace and joy, not just this weird thing at this time of the year. No, I want us to bring peace into our hearts, and that for this new year, if we all began to think about peace in our hearts and with our souls and through our hearts, our souls, and then through the mind, and we could project this, that there would be a change. And then all of a sudden, within a week, people are starting to use the word peace. Now, again, I'm not taking credit for this. I'm not going there. But to the point, though, you got to, I sit back and I'm reading some stuff and I'm going, now, that's just really insane. I started speaking about it and it started happening. So in my world, I'm wondering, and I'm not saying that I can, but am I influencing with my thought? And you guys are a part of this. So as we think these thoughts of peace, other people start bringing it out. whether we speak about it, whether we write about it. But the fact that we as a collective are putting this into the quantum computer, that it's becoming, this conversation right now is becoming part of the source message. This is part of this transition. The more that we realize on a seriously cosmic level, that, well, we go to church and we pray, yeah, we pray to God, yeah, but we're not pray. We pray to God for what? Well, we're praying to something that anyway. But if we all pray to the source energy for peace, we're not asking anybody to get involved. We are doing the communication. We are the ones who are sending the message out into the universe. We are the ones responsible for the message. We send it with our hearts, with our desires, with our soul. We send this peace to you, my brothers and sisters. So I want to ask everyone, thank you for just the thought and the fact that you're hanging out with me. You're having the thought. And so that's going into there. So I'm kind of cheating in a way. I'm using your energy to stack the deck, if you will, to come on, guys. We're really having an effect. And it's being seen. I mean, I didn't see the word peace in anything for a while. And then I got the angel message. So let's have this conversation about peace. Okay, not just the holidays, peace on earth. I wish for peace on earth every single day. That is my mantra. That is my prayer. That is my meditation. And so when other people join me in this meditation, we're sending it out to the source. And the source energy is coming back down. And it's having an effect. I mean, okay, call me crazy. It's okay. I do. But in that, do you see the effects? I just see the effects just kind of calmly looking around. Not everybody's getting it. That's not the point. What is the point is that the word showed up in the linguistics, if you will. Now, I don't have a program that I run like Cliff High does. Okay. I just look. I just watch, threads and conversations. But when I see the word peace brought up in different areas, and it's like, but that wasn't there before. And then people are speaking about it in different ways, or in a YouTube video or whatever. But to the point, though, that the word is brought out, that means the idea has been brought out. That means our feelings of peace are being recorded in source, and that all of our energies are reflecting back down to those people I say we wish to influence. I said, we should pray for our enemies, and several things that I've seen in the last few days or last week or so has been, well, there are those who say, well, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. Well, yeah, okay, but that's not the point. The point of the matter is, let's pray for the people who don't have this idea of peace within themselves. Let's pray for individual peace on people. That, well, if I had peace within my heart, maybe that I wouldn't go around and murder a bunch of people. Maybe if there was a certain, so this idea of peace within the heart and the soul is a lot more deeper than just not having war. Well, Trump pulled our troops out of Syria. What? Peace. Oh, wait, hang on. Isn't that kind of strange? I mean, I'm thumbs up. And like I said, I'm not taking credit for this. I will say that we as a collective are having an effect with the peace. Yeah, well, I'll take credit for that for all of us, but not for me, because this is so it's serious, and one of the things that the galactics or the ET or however you want to, our space brothers and sisters, what they've been telling us is that we ain't landing on y'all's planet if you're going to blow us up. That we have to realize a certain amount of peace among us, the population. And as I've stated before, and I will reiterate this, a long time ago when this thing first came out with the event and other things, and we've all been partaking of some of this one way or the other, but the event, we need 144,000 people. Well, actually, ET wanted 144 million. And we have achieved that goal and climbing. The yellow shirts, The yellow vest thing is part of this movement. We have had enough of the lies. There are yellow shirt vest things going on in pockets all around the world. This is one of the humps. It's the awakening of all of us. It's the awakening of the planet Earth to these other things. Why have I had enough of what? Well, the politician was and the lies. And it's not just a thing. It's not, well, it's just that, well, it's all about the lies in politics. Well, it's not just about politics. It's about rich people being over poor. It's about, so it's not just one thing. It's the collective of things that we as a society upon this planet have had a flip enough of this craziness. And we can go about it peaceably. Now, we may have to storm the bastion, if you will. We may have to lay waste to a couple of these oligarchs, strongholds. If that's what it takes to bring peace, well, then, I'm not for war. I'm not for fighting. But what are we going to do if they refuse to give up? Sorry, there's more of us than there are of you, and you guys have had control much longer than we have. Now, if we all thought about it hard enough, some of these folks would literally just drop dead. But none of us want that. But it may come to that. It may come to the simple realization of enough of us need to have the thought, you need to go somewhere else, off planet, go to the sun. I don't care, but you need to get out of here. We don't want you in our neighborhood. You don't act like the rest of us. And it's not because you're long haired and crazy, but it's the perverted shit you do that we don't agree with. It has nothing to do with your looks. You're a 10-foot tall alien with squiggly eyes, but you're a vegetarian and you're not eating babies. Okay, so you can stay in the neighborhood. I don't care if you got googly eyes hanging up here and doing this number. Fine, but you're not eating babies. You're actually helping me. What? So who should we put our thoughts against? Now, again, trying to conjure, and if in magic or sorcery or whatever, and in earth magic, to conjure up a negative against someone is dealing in the dark side. So when those of us who, and I mentioned this before, but it's very important during this transition right now, is, and I'm getting like a direct message at the moment as we speak on this. We need to understand. We can't use negative against the negative. We have to use a positive against the negative. I had to stop for a little clarification there. Let me just use magic, okay? If so, I've watched the magicians and Harry Potter, blah blah blah. Okay, so something evil is trying to get at you. You put up a protection spell. All right, we surround ourselves with crystals and things and sage, and we try to rid our areas of these negative energies. Well, we're putting a positive energy field around us. We're just strengthening it. All right, next level. But we want to stop these other people. So first we have our protection, and then we want to send energy to stop these people. How do we stop them? Well, we want them to stop, but how do we want them to stop? Well, should they die? Should they jump off a bridge? Should ET take them and throw them through the sun? Whatever. But the thing is, what is our thought process on this? Do we wish harm upon them? Well, then that breaks the rule of one. Do no harm to any other being. So one of the reasons we have not been successful in getting rid of some of these bad guys is there are a lot of us who are unwilling to go to the dark side in order to deal with these things. We have to conjure up, I'm using magical terms, that we have to bring up a negative thought to get rid of this individual. Well, there is an old tradition called Shingakatita. Kill them with kindness. So we've been trying to kill our enemy using their negatives. in our positive fields. And this is important. We need to use our positive fields to our benefit. So that now that there are 144 million people awake on this planet and growing, if not more, but to the point though that as this thing grows exponentially, how do we get rid of the nasties? We get rid of them with pure white light. We get rid of them with the good energy. We're going to literally expand our energies to the point where they ain't got nowhere to go. Now, is that using a negative force? Mm-mm. We need to hit these folks with so much positive. That's why praying for them is like an it's like a silver bullet to a werewolf or a vampire, possibly, depending. But so our silver bullets are is our energy going, you know what? Instead of hating the Bilderbergs, let's love them to death. Let's send so much peace and love. You guys are going to change your minds. You guys are going to understand that you have done so much harm to this planet. You guys are going to understand. You will understand what you have done and you will have remorse rather than, well, I hate these sons of bitches. I wish everyone would die. We ain't going to win that war. I hope this makes sense. It makes sense to me, and they're giving me more downloads as I sit here with you. But to this point, though, Shinga Kadita, we killed them with kindness, and so it's not that we lay down our arms. We stand with our guns and go, "Sorry, no, but you're not running us off. No, we don't want to hurt you. We don't want to kill you. But if you open fire on us, we're going to shoot back. We're just saying." Here's my weapon, and our weapon is our energy field. Our weapon is our own soul. So how can I affect my enemy? Now, people would say, well, yeah, during World War II and the Jews and all the collection, yeah, but there were people who could have stopped it. And there were people who became pacified with the, well, they're going to hurt me, which was true. But if a couple of them would have just took a gun and just, obliterated to cover the idiots, then the rest of them would have just fell apart. But to the point, though, there wasn't this mass awareness that we have now. Is this World War II? No, it's beyond World War III. We are in the galactic war right now, y'all. And I think many of you understand it. And so let's use, how do I put this? In primitive camping and so forth, and like in the woodsman, if you get stranded, something happens, you're out in the middle of nowhere, what do? Okay, you use the tools around you. And many people aren't inventive enough. But a stick and a piece of vine can become a bow and an arrow, and certain rocks can create a spark and you can make a fire. I mean, so if you use just the natural things around you, you can achieve certain things. Okay. But with that said, with each one of us, we are candles in the wind, my friends, right? Except you're not going to blow out my flame. If I choose to put a dome or a glass enclosure around this candle, that's going to keep the wind from blowing the candle out. So what we are doing essentially is we're putting a globe around each and every one of ourselves, and we are arming ourselves with our own clear images of protection. But this next step is that to drive these bat crap crazy people even more bat crap crazy is that we love them to death. We send so much peace, harmony, and love towards them, it's going to be like a silver bullet. Ain't that some stuff? Now, I'm still in the process of blowing this over, but I mean, I'm getting like a download right now. The reason I'm doing this video instead of feeding my chickens, which are squawking out in the background, I can hear them, but I'll feed them here shortly. But to this point, though, my friends, and let me put my glasses on and read over what y'all are up to, and because I really do, I really do care. I send you guys prayers all the time, and thank you for your prayers. Melanie says, yep, cried for months since spring. Then my heart opened up and the light came in. Yep, there was something about that summer. It's not a solstice, equinox. summer equinox. Um, Trust the plan. Absolutely. Babylon 5. Right, Pamela. Supernatural. Yeah, I keep hearing the whisperings of martial law, etc. But nothing is real until it is. Well, the thing is, here's one of the things, Supernatural. We've been under martial law for a year. President Trump signed that thing right at a year ago about anybody who is involved in the pedophilia and blah, 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 any foreign companies. He put us under martial law right there. And there's been a few other things. Technically speaking, we are under martial law. It's just that we don't have tanks in the streets. We are under martial law. Because of RICO laws and already things. So when President Trump has signed some of these executive orders, he actually has already enacted some of this stuff. We are already in it. Okay. It's not going to happen. It is happening. For the last year, it's happened. So, woo, that talk about, how about that one for being woke up, right? And he signed some other things too. So just saying, Melanie says, I've been feeling very centered and calm here this last week since just before Christmas. Well, Christmas, my trip down to Florida chasing ETs is like, wow, that was the greatest thing. Transitioning from one reality to another, says Quartz. Absolutely. Supernatural says, I've met a few others here and there that are aware too, which is nice. Kind of like a confirmation here and there. Absolutely. My having conversation of this helps other people to go, I had that thought too. Or, my reality, it also includes some of your craziness, Dave. Okay, I get it. Supernatural says, noticing with a level of awareness, most don't, is funny. I usually just shut up about it, lest I sound crazy. I get it, though. Exactly. Quartz, you're not watching the ball drop. I don't even need to watch any of the mind control crap. Yeah. And what difference does it make in the grand scheme of things? But, everybody's going to party. Well, okay. I'm all for it, But what about the Chinese New Year, which comes in February or something? But anyway, so we've all got it. Everything is a point in time that they choose for us. Well, by the clocks and by the calendar, time's up. Next year, ding. So let's celebrate. But anyway, yeah, that's just kind of weird in itself. The last time I was watching, reporters were asking the people around them were behaving correctly. Stuff like that is like what? Right, Quartz. Asking the police around them. Oh, I got you. Well said, David. Spidey sense is definitely aware, but seems like the weirdness may just be getting started. Supernatural, I want to agree with you on that one. Not that it was well said, but that the weirdness is going to continue because there are going to be the realities that we've kind of been shown this last year in particular with the awarenesses and all this other stuff that like this is possible. And so like my discussing about some kind of phase shift, I don't get it, but I'm experiencing it. I'm seeing it, I'm not, okay, I'm crazy, but something else is going on beyond my craziness, And so, but I think that this is just a prelude, if you will. It's like, a commercial for, what's coming, the coming attractions, that we're getting a sense of what actually is real. But is real. That's interesting. Is real. Is what is real. I never threw that connection in that. Israel is what is real. Sorry about that little brain fart there. But to the point though, what is real in our world? Well, orbs are there. We catch them on videotape and on, still shots, but we don't see them. Well, but now are we starting to see, or is all of the frequencies changing to such a degree that now these quote things that were uncanny, unreal to us before are now going to be normal. In that, the strangeness, it will definitely continue because, for any of you who have walked in the dream world at all, and I know all of you probably have in one way, shape, or another, or you wouldn't be hanging out with this crazy old fool right here. But to the point, though, which is good, in that, but think about your reality in that dream world and the things that you may see one way or another. And then begin to understand that if it's in your dream world, there must be a reality, because otherwise, how could we get that information? How could we get a picture of another planet? How could I have, and I've described it to several people on here too, of being in a spaceship and just, being in this cockpit, I right in the middle of it all, I had to stop in this world and go take a pee and come back, but I could still see the cockpit in my head. But anyway, cockpit, never mind. Oh, that was bad. Scratch that. Beep. Um, Different people are having a very similar dream, and it's like, are we all connecting and having the dream, or are we actually in these apparatus or things? Are we actually experiencing these things? Are we being shown this for a reason? So the weirdness doesn't. The weirdness does get more weird. But what needs to happen with you, I, and the next guy is, I'm already ready for some of this weirdness. I'm already seeing it. A lot of us are. So we're going to be the ones to calm everybody down. I've said this before, and I consider this very humbling in the fact that I've been given information so I can have these conversations with you, and possibly in some way go, hang on, just chill out a little bit here. It's not that bad, or maybe it's worse, and they're not telling us. But to the point, there is another reality to this. So the folks who are going to be screaming and hollering are going to be the ones who just, you know, I'm going to use this term, but not all blondes are dumb. But to the blonde bimbo, what? I looked in the mirror and saw my double. I didn't know I had a twin. I mean, okay. It's going to be like that, though. People are going to look in the mirror and they're going to see themselves as a twin, in another reality, and they're going to like not want to look in a mirror, kind of thing. So things are definitely changing. Things are definitely going to be more weird, but the more we keep the love and the peace thing within our heart, and we shinga kedita our enemy, we kill them with consciousness and with love, versus trying to. Now, like I said, even ET has said some of these folks are just going to have to be taken out. They have refused all hope. They have refused time and time and time and time again. The clock's backwards in my world. I was like, what? I thought it said 10 minutes to 7. I was like, no, it can't be. And never mind. Yeah, Court, you say the Kabbalists are scared. The Kabbalist. Donald Trump has been pointing fingers at the Federal Reserve. Yep. All right. I went back up. Yes, Supernatural. And, here's one of the things about the movies. I've been watching a lot of old TV here lately because there's nothing new on that really appeals to me. And so I'm watching old Dick Van Dyke shows. I'm watching old Munsters and things. And there's some, even in those shows, there's some references to things, science and different stuff. I was like, oh my God, even on the Dick Van Dyke show, they were sprinkling little things in about stuff, about the space program or something. Yes, that was in the 1960s, but to the point, the wording was there. Now I've looked at, the old 50s as One Step Beyond. Oh my gosh, that's a big one. Y'all go check out One Step Beyond, some of the things that they talked about. And it was sponsored by like the National Science Foundation or something. They're really strange in itself in that respect. But, the old Star Trek, the old Sliders, Quantum Leap, You know, when I look back through these old television series, even My Mother the Car, you know, you're extrapolating the fact that an entity or a soul or a being overtook a mechanical thing, a car. Okay, I mean, and then there was Knight Rider, and then you know my favorite Martian, and so we have been programmed, whether to confuse us or not. I'm not sure about that, but they've been dropping hints about stuff in these programs. So when I look back in some of these old programs and I see them in black and white, I mean, color TV isn't even out yet, you know, and they're coming up with this stuff, and I'm like, now how much of this stuff do they really know? And they've known for the last 60 years. I'm 66, born in 52. So for the last almost 70 years since television's been out there, they've been programming us. Welcome to the club, right? as say, uh, court says military tribunal starting on Tuesday, January 1st. Been wondering about that. Um, I've been the thing that I've been getting, not from anywhere, but just from like downloads, if you will, was things are going to start picking up steam after the first of the year. Now, what that means, I don't really have a clue. Other than there's a lot of stuff out there, you know, like the fact that Trump has argued with the IMF and said no, the fact that the UN came up with a vote and that there were several countries about this new immigration policy, this world standard immigration, and the US said no. A lot of other countries, Poland, Hungary, and a couple other ones, and then there were other ones who just abstained from the vote. And it was like the poorer countries who wanted everybody to say, "Hey, take us in," you know. But the fact is that you know Trump is finally saying no to this stuff. And it's not just Trump, it's you and me. I don't want in the UN. I don't want us to just take any immigrants in at any time and under whatever circumstances and pay them and house them and whatever. I'm sorry. Back during the Vietnam Wars, a lot of people don't understand this, but after we left Vietnam, there were refugees. And there were people in America who actually they were the sponsors of these refugees. Okay, fine. What was wrong with that? These folks came in, but they had sponsors within the U.S. who people, not the government, who would give them a house, give them a job, help them make the transition. And that was successful because it was done on an individual basis. So there are a lot of people who are like, well, you know, just let them into the country. Okay, so then you've got 2.5 million sitting in the bank. You got a huge house. You got sprawling properties. You have rental properties. Can you sponsor a Mexican family to come in? Will you take the money out of your pocket and sponsor these people? Now, in the 1970s, after the Vietnam War, when this happened and people sponsored families, we didn't have an immigration problem. Well, yeah, well, it was across the ocean. Well, they could have got here from other ways. But to the point, though, if we're willing, okay, fine. I got 18 acres. I've said this before. If you're willing, you know, we'll make a place for you to stay here. I've got little outbuildings and campers and things and stuff. If you are really homeless, then come help me. I will give you a free place to stay. Electricity, depending. And now food, you're going to have to share what I got. And you're going to have to, you know, do it or come up with your own, help me with my garden. You know, I got no takers. But there are people out there complaining that they're homeless. Why are you homeless? Well, but I don't want to do that. Do what? Well, I don't want to have to. You mean I have to get up in the morning and go work in the garden for a couple hours? Well, yeah, that's how you grow food. Well, you mean I have to such a? Well, yeah, don't you want? You got to cut firewood if you want to stay warm. Well, no, I want somebody to move me into an apartment, and I want somebody to give me free cable and a television. Well, wait a minute. Whoa, I thought you were homeless. Well, but I am. You're living in your car and you're living in, and somebody's offering you a place to stay and a means to get out of your situation, and all you want to do is complain about, well, it's not what I expect. So they live in their cars. Now, not everybody's like that, but most of the people that I have met over the years who are homeless and who have traveled and who have ventured here to my property and stayed with me, and many of them helped me out over the years, but every one of them stole from me one way or the other. I mean, flat out blindly stole from me. Not just used so much electricity and let me hang with the bill. That's another story, but I mean, literally stole something from my house. And my house ain't that much, and I don't have that much. But for somebody to steal from me, when anyone who I opened up your house, my house, come on in, and you want to steal from me anyway. So there's a mental issue with that. People have got to overcome this, and in this new reality, people are going to have to get this awareness straightened out. It's like, well, but okay, so will you sponsor someone? Well, no, but I think the wall is horrible. Why? You rich people live in a gated community, but then you say, well, whoa, oh, a fence is fine around my property, but a fence around the United States isn't. What? Come on, So it's like double talk. Well, no, we have to have open borders and let people in. We're America and we take folks in. But I live in a gated community and you'll get shot if you get within 10 yards of the fence. Oh, okay. But we live in America, the land of the home of the free and the brave. Okay. Double standard. We all get that part. So, but I bring this up because what needs to happen is these people need to have the peace brought upon them. They have the means to help these immigrants. There are 11 million millionaires in the United States. So for every 11 million millionaires, those 11 million millionaires could sponsor one family. They're millionaires. You trying to tell me that you couldn't spring 100 grand to sponsor a family for a year? You could write it off your taxes. Oh, but wait, no, because it's your money. But if you want these same immigrants to go, so there's this disconnect, and folks are going to have to pay attention. They're going to have to reconnect with what's really going on. So, New York C 812 channel has Beedrow from last year of millions of orbs. Yeah, very much, Pamela. Supernatural says a little yes on the ups and downs with energies for sure. Waking up at weird times like 3:33 a.m. Yep, gotcha. Pamela, you say all is becoming clear, carbon becoming crystalline, spontaneous healing. Quartz, you say can't wait for America to not be using the debt currency anymore. Yep. There's a lot of stuff. Pamela, you say the past, present, and future merging for the common good of the solar system. Yes, but also the galaxy. This awakening is going on within the whole Milky Way galaxy. I'm yes, I'm agreeing with you, Pamela. But for a lot of us, it's like, well, the solar system is changing. Yeah, but what is it having? This effect that's coming out of the central sun of the of the galaxy is affecting this entire galaxy, not just our solar system. So this is a galaxy-wide energy thing. So we think, well, okay, planet Earth, okay, now the solar system. But think, this energy is coming from the central sun of the Milky Way, and it's having ripple effects all throughout our galaxy. Oh my gosh. Just saying. But yeah, it's even more than we puny little humans down here wish for our brains to try to understand. Supernatural says, my focus has just been the desire to see a better world for all. Absolutely. Pamela, you say purposely unmanifesting Cliff's web bots for the common good. Greg Hunter, there you go. Quartz Quantum, yeah. X22 report, Dave Janda, Greg Hunter, and SGT report. Absolutely. Them folks stay on top of stuff. I really, Melly, I like you're kind of crazy too, even though we've never met. Yes, we are having an effect on the world. Uh, Double secret probation, Animal House reference there. Oh yeah, just when you know Supernatural says just when you just know things that you have normally no business of knowing. It's like another confirmation. Absolutely. And the Twilight Zone, yes, was way ahead of its time. And even some of the old Alfred Hitchcock, some of the weirdness that they did related on in the macabre, in the macabre, in that they worked in sort of time dimensions. I mean, there is another reality, whether it's the dark side or whatever, but it's this other reality. So even um, um, I forgot his name right off just that fast. Certain things are being a little weird today, like short-term memory, and I haven't even smoked any weed yet. Come on, maybe that's my problem. I can't remember. I haven't smoked a bowl yet, and I'm still on my. This is my second cigarette, and it went out again. But anyway, but to the point though, and survival basics for everything. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff from that's going on. Um, yeah, knowing something that just isn't, that's part of, one of the reasons why I do the video. If there's just something that is different in my reality, even though it's crazy, something has changed. I'm still trying to quantify it, but it seems all positive. The being asleep, well, I'm waking up more. Are there, I've talked about the arthritis in my hands, and I was at my friend's house the other night playing cards, and I was like, I showed her, I said, look, I said, my knuckles aren't big anymore. The rheumatoid arthritis went away. When was the last time you heard of somebody's rheumatoid arthritis go away? I mean, rheumatoid arthritis, your knuckles get huge and you can't move your something's going on. So, but I'm only accessing the source. I'm accepting and receiving the energy and the healing from the universe. That's my answer. Now, my lower back is killing me, and I'm going to have to quit this video because I was only going to do 15 minutes and an hour and 15 minutes now. But to the point, though, there are super healings that are going on with people. There was a new news thing that came out recently where there was this gentleman, and the doctor ended up dead, by the way, which is really a shame. But that they found a chemical within our own human body that if we focus on this like gene atom thing that's supposed to be in each one of us, GMAC or something like that. It sounds like one of those, a credit corporation, but it's actually like a DNA thing that when you focus on it, you can increase the endorphins in your body. You actually heal from the inside out without medicines. And it's like, with certain meditations and certain vibrations and oh my God. So science has been trying to bring this out. So to kind of wrap this up a little bit, the transitions that we are going through, each one of us is affecting us differently. Absolutely. But as a collective, I think it's been positive. There are those folks who have gotten crazier, but they're crazy in the respect that they've had enough of whatever's going on. So whatever is driving them crazy is the fact that they can't put up their tolerance level of whatever it is has reached a peak where they're going, I don't, crazy. So it's like we're having an effect. And if making them more crazy with a smile and a gesture and prayers for peace and for healing, I pray for my enemies that they will have healing in this. Oh my God. How many people pray for their enemies? Like I've said. So let's pray for them, folk. Let's pour on the juice. Keep our energy levels where we need them because That's the continued message right now in this update is we need to make sure that we've got our own little cocoon going on here. We keep our aura safe, but then we send out from our aura, not necessarily from ourselves. That's a little confusing to me, but anyway, uh, they're going to send me more clarification for another video. All right. That's the current download, right? So I guess I'm channeling right now, as some people would call it. But anyway, but understand that each one of us can channel all the time, and that all we need to do is get our connection going. So, blessings with each one of you. Stay on your inner tubes. I'll come back. There's some more information that needs to come out. I just wanted to come on and just Spirit said get on here and chat with you all today. So I love you all. I really do. Thank you for hanging out. I'm going to go feed chickens and collect some firewood. It's going to continue raining, and it's not so much that it's cold, it's damp. And cold is one thing, but damp and chilly is just nasty. It gets into your bones. But so my prayers out to every one of you. Have a wonderfully good Saturday evening, and tomorrow and the new year coming up. Blessings to all of you. This transition is still going to be bumpy, but we just need to take it in stride and so forth. So far up to this point, I think that most of us are weathering this pretty well. Now, yep, weather's going to get stranger, earthquakes going to keep happening, and all of those things that we have discussed for at least this last year, they're still all on the table. And when that crack, Krakatoa, that the volcano that blew last week, a third of it is missing. A third of the island is gone. Just understand that Mother Earth can take some drastic changes when she wants to. So people who think they're living around somewhere, everything's safe and hunky-dory, and just be aware that the crap can hit the fan in a lot of ways really quick. So be safe, be aware, have a little bit of extra on hand, save where you can and help where you can. So my prayer out for this little time right here. Join me on MeWe. What? MeWe? What is that, Pamela? I've never heard of that. Thank you, Quartz. Thank you all. Exactly. For some, any change can be better than none. Exactly. For they know not what they do. Water wings on. They know not what they do. I mentioned that here recently, but it's kind of entered into my vocabulary once in a while. What is MeWe, guys? Should I just do a Google search for? Well, I don't use Google. I use DuckDuckGo, and I don't have as many problems with other people, by the way, too. I just hardly ever use it. MeWe. All right, I'll have to check it out and see what's up. It's a social, much like Facebook, but no censorship. I got you. Okay, social network. All right, friends. My chickens are screaming, and I know you love me and my chickens, as I love you all too. So please be safe. And so my closing prayer, as always, I pray that every one of you, your friends, your family, your neighbors, your relatives, and all of your relations will accept and receive the healing from the universe. I pray that every one of you will continue to receive and accept these healings from the universe. We may not understand what these healings mean or what these weird vibrations are, but let us accept them as healing vibrations. And let us use our love and our ability to drive other people crazy with positive peace attitudes. Let's bring them to our side with love and kindness, and let's pray for our enemies. As I pray for you every single day, even though I'm not on here, you folks run through my mind, and they're like little cards in a Rolodex file, if those still exist. But to that point, though, be safe, be healthy. I wish always the best for you and yours. So let's keep passing it on. And bye for now, y'all. Time to go feed my chickens. I love y'all. I do.